All right, so votes for Bernie Sanders were counted under Deval Patrick and Tom Steyer in certain districts where Bernie Sanders was performing exceptionally well at. This is a blatant attempt to overturn and throw off an election. That's crazy. So Iowa Democrats saying there was a minor correction. There will be a minor correction to the last batch of results, and we will be pushing an update momentarily. An update momentarily, really. Now, how can we trust the results for any other precinct? As we can see here, Deval Patrick and Tom Steyer somehow had huge turnouts in districts that were supposed to go really well for Bernie Sanders. So this is one way that they tried rigging the results of this entire process. So we're going to have to go through the numbers that Bernie Sanders' team got and compare those to the numbers that the DNC and the Iowa Democratic Party are giving us. Because judging by these results, we know Deval Patrick did not get a big share of delegates in Iowa. Is that the reason Patrick ended up running? Was this the plan? Like, why did Deval Patrick jump in the race? We knew he was a corporatist. We knew he didn't have a real chance. Was it to soak up this blame for these votes? So Iowa Democrats, there will be a correction. And you can see the difference in votes from Blackhawk County caucus results compared to what they say right here for the votes that were reported. So here you can see Bernie Sanders has a much bigger share of votes from the regular precinct person that reports it compared to what they actually reported in the end. So this is going to be the new big thing. I thought it was just the media cycle they're trying to deter, but apparently they are trying to fake votes. There's no way in hell. Look at this. Look at the votes that were going to Bernie Sanders. 500 votes. Those votes were distributed, taken away and Warren and Biden. Warren went up and Biden stayed around where he was. But those votes for Bernie Sanders were distributed through Deval Patrick. What the hell? There's no way Deval Patrick and Tom Steyer finish ahead of Andrew Yang. So that's what we're dealing with. Blatant freaking fraud. That's something you never want to... And this is all happening during the freaking acquittal of Donald Trump. So the media cycle will not pick it up nearly as much as they usually would. So we have to keep on asking, is Deval Patrick the person that came in this race so they can make this move? And Kyle Kalinske is 100% right here. You don't accidentally give Bernie support to Steyer or Deval Patrick. That doesn't happen unless if it's intentional. This entire thing has been intentional. This very well may be the beginning. I mean, this whole process is the beginning of a whole new party. This is radicalizing so many people, and I don't mean to use that word, but there's so many people being born out of this debacle right here that are burning or bust, that are ready to leave the Democratic Party. Because either it's intentional or they're incompetent, but I think it's both, because it's obvious that this is intentional. They meant for the system to corrupt, for the Iowa caucuses to fail, so that they could try to rig it. So now they're giving bearing to Donald Trump, who will accuse them of being rigged. And guess what? He's allowed to lie about everything else, because when he brings up the Democrats being rigged, it's something he could be right about. Everything he says has some bearing in truth, even if he friggin' lies about everything. Deval Patrick with more votes than Steyer or Yang. It's insane. So as you can see here, it shows Tom Steyer with 70, Deval Patrick with 63, and Andrew Yang at 55. We know these numbers are fake. So I want to see how the major media networks are going to be covering this one. And if it happened here, we have to compare it to what Bernie had, to what Bernie's team had internally. Like Kyle Kalinske says, now we know why Bernie's team. Good thing Bernie Sanders' team made this app. So Bernie Sanders has to be the protector of what's correct, of a proper, fair election. So they have an app to track all of this data. So now we have to go through all of the results the Democrats give us and make sure they're correct by comparing it to Bernie Sanders' results. And that's going to drive even more controversy. So the meaning of the Iowa caucus is completely gone, even more so than it already was. So Bernie Sanders' votes in districts that would go overwhelmingly Bernie, and right now with 86% reported from Iowa, if these votes were in the right places, Bernie would have overtaken first. But instead, these votes are with Deval Patrick, who has no support anywhere, and Tom Steyer. And of course, it's happening during the Trump trial, so it's not going to get any major media picking up on it. Frankenstein, USA can't even conduct a legitimate election anymore. We can't vote our way to human rights justice. Only mass protests, fighting, and dying in the streets will facilitate change. See, I've never been a person to want to be to that point. JFK said, if you don't allow a peaceful revolution to happen, then there always will be a violent one. And there's the idea that you cannot overtake your corporate masters by using their tools, by using their election processes without forcing something new. And I guess we're going to be seeing that here. Thousands of Democrats still trapped in Iowa caucus watch parties. Yeah, that's a funny joke. Yeah, we're at 86 reporting right now. I guess we could... Oh my goodness, dude. It's time for the Democratic Party to be overturned. 86 reporting. Bernie Sanders down 1% in the delegate count right now. But of course, we're having this controversy where Deval Patrick has taken Bernie Sanders' vote somehow magically. Jeez, thank you to whoever just subscribed to my channel. 494 people don't know who Deval Patrick is. Get the F out of here. 100%. 100% facts. And again, here's the difference in votes. So, since they held back the results from the Iowa caucus, and they're having this slow trickle, which benefits Pete Buttigieg, the media is already naming Pete Buttigieg the winner, the outright winner. So different precinct captains put out their information that they reported hours ago. That hasn't yet been reported to us, by the way. These Black Hawk County results just came out. And you can see here with Bernie Sanders leading, 2,000 votes, 2,100 votes. Buttigieg second place with 1,500 votes. And then you can see the data they ended up reporting today from Black Hawk County. Bernie Sanders, 500 votes less than the data reported by the actual precinct manager. So you can see the difference there alone. Oh my goodness, dude. I don't see a scenario in which Donald Trump doesn't become president. After this whole Iowa debacle, it's just getting worse. The IDP reporting vote totals. And the Iowa Democratic Party, that's what IDP is. They said they're going to fix these issues. But, I mean, with the rate the results are coming from Iowa right now, and with the results being fraudulent, I can't see actual results coming out and standing until after the New Hampshire debate. So I can't see it until over the weekend, maybe until New Hampshire votes. Maybe Iowa won't be fully decided until New Hampshire votes. What happened now? All right, so what happened now is precinct captains came out and said they reported this information 24 hours ago, but of course they're withholding actual election results from us, where Bernie Sanders was doing good because they want Buttigieg to be out in front for media. But the numbers they reported today from the same exact county show Bernie Sanders losing 500 votes. And where did those 500 votes go? You look down the list. Why the hell does Deval Patrick, who is polling at 0.5%, why does he have a random 500 votes? When you look at the results that were actually reported, Patrick wasn't even registering with any voters. So it makes me think, was this the plan all along? We were wondering why why did Deval Patrick hop in the race? And I guess we could speculate that when Deval Patrick hopped in the race late with no support and no money, it was because he was another pawn that they could use to try to manipulate this system. So he could try to get enough support in Iowa so they could shift it away from Bernie without it being caught. Because I can't see something like this happening without it being purposeful. course, Donald Trump will be parading this around. They're using the argument, if you can't run Iowa, how can you run our health care to combat things like Medicare for all or even a public option? So this will be used by Trump as ammunition. Thank you to whoever just subscribed. Yeah, we have to point this out. Super votes. So they found a way to award Sanders' votes to someone else, but the Iowa Democratic Party did come out and say they're fixing something. And here you can see more results showing Tom Steyer and Deval Patrick outperforming Andrew Yang, who had immense, like very, very immense potential going into Iowa. So some people think they're using the Iowa version of superdelegates to rig this. We need answers. We need answers for this whole thing that we're not going to get. And the legitimacy of American elections is declining right now. When you see totals like this being manipulated, and I could try to find the Iowa Democratic Party page again to see what kind of heat they're getting for these discrepancies. Yeah, we have to. That's why you support someone like Bernie. This is a big argument, actually. If you get into debates with anybody, whether it be a Yang Ganger or anyone who supports anyone else, a Warren supporter, this is an argument for Bernie. We need Bernie to fight against this kind of corruption. Money in politics and corruption in politics is the #1 reason to support Bernie Sanders. Even if you don't agree with everything he says, this is the main reason you need to support him. And he came prepared. Sanders' campaign alone is facilitating a more fair election than the entire DNC. They have to use their resources raised by people from small donations to make sure a corporation runs elections in America fairly. And that's really where we are. I want to see the Iowa Democratic Party. So in 2016, Lynn County had 12,000 votes. Johnston County had 9,000 votes. But this year, Johnston is going to have 20,000, and Lynn is going to have 1,300. So there's a lower voter turnout in another place where Bernie was supposed to be doing good, apparently. And here's the Iowa Democrats' official post saying they were wrong about information. Bernie supported Hillary last time and didn't call out the cheating, so why would he do it this time? That is one big criticism of Bernie. He did not call out the cheating of Hillary. I know why he did it. Just because I know a lot of people who support Bernie now, that if he did not get behind her in 2016, they would not be on his boat now. It's his only chance to get moderate voters. It would have made us happy, but I think it was a calculated political decision. I do wish he would call her out. But I guess that's why you surround yourself with people like Tulsi Gabbard and Nita Turner, who will call the stuff out. So Bernie could stay as the positive influence and the leader of the movement when all this stuff is happening around him. And that is true. Donate to Bernie. That's the only way we could really fight this. I think he lost a lot less people by not calling her out than he did by calling her out. There's a lot more low information voters that want to see him be, I don't know, unifying. As annoying as it is, the people I talk to on the internet would say otherwise, but the people I see on the street, people who are normally apolitical, typically agree with that sentiment. So I wonder what kind of heat they're getting. So this is one of the discrepancies. Black Hawk. I'm trying not to say it too fast, so it's not funny. Black Hawk County had a discrepancy where Sanders had 2,100 votes reported from a leader of the precinct, and then when they reported it today, there were 500 less votes for Bernie. So we have to be making sure there's no election fraud. Yeah, slow down, guys. We got to get this right. So they're slowly leaking out the information, saying it's for credibility purposes, but somehow the information is still completely wrong. Refund Warren. See, Iowa turnout, there were reports that it was lower from media, but there were reports on the ground and for precincts that it was higher. So I don't know who you want to trust more, the media or whatever. This is the guy running the Iowa caucus. Is that Troy Price, the guy who did the press conference yesterday? With numbers in, Hillary Clinton will win. Oh, of course. It all comes. Oh my goodness. The only good thing about Clinton and what's happening lately is we know she's going to be remembered in history in a very bad way, which I guess we could all be happy about. Because the next generation, our generation, like my generation, you know, millennials and whatever I am, like the 20-year-olds, we're not going to remember her good. We're going to make sure the history books are written how they're supposed to be. Iowa needs to go. Which other state should go first? I think Illinois, because it has a mix of people in urban and rural areas. There's an argument to be had there on the ordering. Should we do an order at all? Is a good debate. Should we be doing an order at all? Or should we just have a national election? So it'd be like every state votes on the same exact day, like the general election works. That's one way you could try to fix it. I thought since Deval Patrick entered so late, he couldn't be on the ballot in Iowa and New Hampshire. I'm not sure about that one. Yeah, I'm not sure how that fares. Bloomberg, definitely. Yeah, U.S.'s election system is a joke, and nothing's ever going to change because our system's in gridlock. Which is why I know a lot of you believe that the only answer is resorting to like France-style yellow vest protest on the streets, and you have to actually disrupt to change anything. The source for the picture on the left. This is the actual. I'm not sure where the actual. Yeah, I'm not sure what site this is from, but I saw these numbers from New York Times, so they are verifiable. And these are the results that were reported. And the worst thing about these results that look better for Bernie are, this is an example of many precincts who came out and said the DNC has the information, they have the votes, but they are slowly leaking it out for a reason. And I have speculated, and I assume that the reasoning is to give Buttigieg some spotlight, make him the front runner, give him the energy of Iowa. The energy that Iowa is supposed to give Bernie Sanders. Bernie was supposed to be giving a speech that night saying, hey, look, I'm a leader. You know, this is our movement. But no, they stole it from him. And I thought originally they did it without like stealing a vote. But it's pretty apparent that they did not follow that. Because it makes no sense at all that we're 3 days away from the Iowa caucuses. Or we're 3 days after. And they're having controversy and they're taking their time. And somehow you give Bernie voters to Deval Patrick? Like, what? Mayor cheat. Hashtag mayor cheat. If anyone has not yet subscribed, I appreciate it if you would consider subscribing, by the way. The official Iowa caucus website shows a 1 total vote for Patrick in Blackhawk County. Yeah, so I think they're correcting it now, but the media coverage... The issue is the correction for a lie never spreads as far as a lie. So when they showed these results on TV, and CNN came out earlier and actually said Bernie Sanders lost to a small town mayor, how can he actually win? I forget who posted that. Pete cheats. Yeah, there's a video of a CNN host saying, yeah, right here.
He did lose to a small appears for Sanders, but on the other hand, he did lose to a small town mayor, but appears for Sanders, but on the other hand, he did lose to a small town mayor.
Before the results are actually in, they have been saying Mayor Pete is the victor, and even if results come in showing Bernie Sanders with a 5-point lead, Pete is still going to say, I meant victory, when he gave that presumptive victory speech. Before results came in, he's going to say, I meant victory because I am an openly gay man performing well in politics, so he's falling back on identity politics when he is the 4th recipient, ranking-wise, of donations from the LGBTQA plus community. So that's what they're going to fall back on. They won't apologize. The whole strategy here is to stretch out Iowa until the media cycle's over so we can forget about it. They delegitimized Iowa. Like, they killed Iowa. They Epsteined Iowa. I mean, not Mila. The Clintons got to him. White-owa. 96% white. Bernie Sanders led the non-white vote by 45%, I'm pretty sure. 45%. But they won't talk about that. I don't know if anything new came out. Jennifer Rubin, our favorite. Love Jennifer Rubin. If you know Jennifer Rubin, she is amazing. Between Schiff, Romney, a gay man winning in Iowa. God, I hate this. I hate this thinking so much. Jennifer Rubin is so... if you know anything about her, her opinions are famously terrible. Yeah, so they're going to give Pete positive coverage for a long time. But, I mean, we could look at the silver lining in this and think, like, okay, who do we want to do good? Out of Iowa, if there was somebody who was going to get positive media coverage without it being Bernie, which candidate do we want to do good? Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, or Pete Buttigieg? And when we look at who shares the most crossover voting appeal, it's Warren, Sanders, and Biden, Sanders. So Warren and Sanders share a progressive vote, and Biden and Sanders share a poor white vote and uneducated white vote. Pete Buttigieg and Sanders cross over with about 5% of their vote. So if we want someone to do good, although this is annoying, this is a messed up situation, we want Mayor Pete to be the one who does good. So that is the silver lining within this. He could take support from Warren, which will suppress her, hopefully kick her out, so the progressive vote from her, which is about 45% of her vote to 40%, around there, will go to Bernie. So you can make the argument for that, but some people can make the argument for different things. Like Joe Biden, he's falling apart no matter what. So we could have said we wish he would have done a little bit better, sucked it away from Pete. I'm not sure what to think right now until we have actual results and we see how New Hampshire plays out as well. I low-key think we can never have an Asian president. Oh yeah, Marshall Buggy? I low-key think we could never have an Asian president. See, what I hope is... It's not about what... Okay. It's also not just about what the media does. It's about when they do it and how they do it. So they could say Bernie Sanders won and we were wrong. But they have been saying the past 3 days when ratings were the highest that Pete Buttigieg won. And people are exhausted from this whole predicament. So when the final conclusion comes and the big shock result comes, less people pay attention to it. This is exactly what we saw with impeachment. People were paying attention to it right away. It was at its highest ratings. People were for getting Trump out of office. But after a long time, people get fatigued. They push storylines. Only a certain number of people see the storylines and then see the correction. Like, there were people voting in the caucuses. Like, I don't know if you saw that one video of the woman who was supporting Klobuchar and then realigned for Pete and didn't know he was gay. So she pulled back that vote. But there's people who are so misinformed. Having a media cycle like this can corrupt a lot of things. People are really swayable. Only policy matters. Don't fall into identity politics. Yeah, I agree. That's why... that's why we have an issue right now with Buttigieg. He's claiming no matter what, it's a victory. So he could say victory because he is a gay man. So he's playing identity politics there. He showed a little bit of fake emotion in his speech. I hope it was real. I'm trying to say this in the least controversial way possible. Yeah, everything they try backfires on them. But I'll be honest, if they were going to play a hand at something, this is probably, it's probably their best move. But luckily, Bernie Sanders' team was ready for, the corruption. They prepared a system where they could track their own votes. Joey, I'm taking a computer science class right now. Should I hack into the DNC? Well, I mean, your new name might be Russia, because apparently everything that happens is Russia's fault. I saw so many comments on MSNBC, on CNN posts. Russia got to the Democrats. Oh no, Russia got us. It's Russia hacking the app. Like, come on. Can you please stop bringing up Russia? That's one of my least favorite. Pete is Mark Zuckerberg level psycho. Yeah, he'll really just like fake emotion to get votes. It freaks me out. Anonymous endorsed Yang. Andrew Yang needs some help because I think he pulled away. I mean, he was polling around 5%, so when he got 5% of the popular vote, it wasn't that big of an issue. But he was saying he was going to outperform by a lot, which isn't really, you know, that's not outperforming by a lot. The corrected results continue to show undercounts of Sanders and Warren voters. Patrick and Steyer. So they're still giving more voters to Steyer and Patrick in the first and second alignments here, with 0 Sanders supporters and 0 Warren supporters. Interesting. Yang could be getting cheated too. I don't know. There's not a reason to really cheat Yang because he's not really a big threat right now. Well, Vortex, I don't think Bernie can do the same thing Trump did by saying everything's rigged. Just because the Democrats are less conspiracy theorist like. Democrats are less like, I mean, they could be fear-mongered, but not over that stuff. They have a good trust in the media. They have a good trust in the electoral process. They have a trust in decorum and conventional wisdom. So it's easier to come out and say, oh, the system's rigged, and rebel for Donald Trump because he's a Republican, and you'll get more uneducated whites in that group too. The Democrats' demographics just don't fit good enough for Bernie to do that. So he's trying to court a lot of different angles here to try to win. And it's not just in Iowa and New Hampshire and California. He needs to win Texas now. He needs to try to get some delegates. He needs to lose South Carolina by less than 5 points. I just don't think the demographics are there for the same approach that Trump took. Just because the Democrats are more, trusting in the overall process. Like I said. Deval Patrick, he's that guy that jumped in from Massachusetts, former governor. He had 400 while Yang had 40. Yeah, really. I didn't see anything on Tulsi at all, actually. And I thought she had a bigger presence to not get any votes, but I guess second realignment would make sense. Or second alignment, whatever. Steyer has a lot of money, a lot of advertising. I'm not surprised that he got a certain delegate amount and a popular vote amount. But Deval Patrick taking Bernie votes. I think the Democratic Party might be done as soon as next year. Not done, but I think the beginning of a new party will start. The only issue that has is you're going to be fragmenting the left. And I don't know what kind of influence we could really take in our current government format. We have to watch out for a big reset soon, whether it be like a depression, a recession, a war. Something big has to happen to fracture the whole system so we can rebuild it in a different way. And I'm sure if Trump gets reelected, that'll happen. Like, one of the only reasons Trump didn't take on so many like crazy policies, I mean, he already did, but the reason he wouldn't do something like go to war with Iran, he de-escalated, is because he was worried about re-election. If you thought first term Trump was bad, just wait for Trump when he doesn't have to worry about his ratings, he doesn't have to worry about getting re-elected, he doesn't have to make anyone happy, he doesn't have to get Republicans elected. After he gets re-elected, oh boy, he doesn't got to play politics at all anymore. At all. He just has to keep that, 33 or 34 Republicans on his side so he doesn't get removed through impeachment. And he can do whatever he wants. Superdelegates follows a long tradition of American politics to try to manipulate the vote. The original electoral system that we made by the founding fathers was designed so that the House would vote for like every presidential election. They didn't think anyone would hit the threshold for any presidential election, so they thought the vote would always go to the House. But then the two-party system, the two parties lobbied to make states winners take all. So therefore, someone always hit the delegate, or the delegate amount for the electorate amount, I mean, for the general election. But they want our process manipulated by the people at the top. They don't trust people to make their own decisions. The founding fathers didn't. I wasn't a Democrat until a little bit ago. I registered so I could vote. But by the way, thank you to the 2 people who just subscribed to my channel. 80 more subs until 1,000. It's been a wild ride the past couple months. They need to have all counties release their results publicly. Yes, as the Washington Post says, democracy dies in darkness. Not sure how much they actually believe that. But so Bernie will kill the popular vote no matter what. The question right now is delegates. And we know that a lot of delegates were stolen by coin tosses yet again. And it's so crazy how the coin tosses always go to the establishment. Like Hillary Clinton in 2016 literally won 8 out of 8 coin tosses. And if she would not have won those coin tosses, there's a chance Bernie Sanders would have won Iowa. And this year, I'm pretty sure Pete won every single coin toss, which is very interesting. Like, the establishment candidate is always the one to win the coin toss. Like, how? Are these weighted coins? Oh, did you see the one coin flip? I don't know if I could find it. I'm pretty sure Secular Talk would have retweeted it. I could try to find it. Yeah, the coin toss for Pete. Maybe if I look it up. It was such a bad coin toss. This right here. Oh my goodness.
And then flip it over. Flip it over. Heads. Buttigieg. You want to do Buttigieg.
All right, so Buttigieg
This is, oh my.
will get 3 delegates.
While you're watching. And then flip it over. Flip it over. Heads. Buttigieg. You want to do
Oh my god. All right, we're going to bring the Buttigieg delegate over here to flip a coin to see who wins the delegate between Bernie and Buttigieg. All right, he flips the coin. All right, flip it over. Oh, okay. Buttigieg won. Heads. Like, come on, dude. Twist it behind your back a little bit. Take a telescope or a microscope. Look at it. Examine it. Make sure you got the establishment answer. Like, come on. This is so...
while you're watching.
This is archaic. And...
Heads.
Oh, it hurts me. It hurts my head.
You want to do
Democracy dies in darkness.
So Buttigieg will get 3 delegates.
Do you agree with while you're watching?
Beautiful. Beautiful America. Way to go, America. You did it. You don't accidentally give Bernie support to Steyer. New endorsement for Bernie. Inland Boatmen's Union of the Pacific. Hell yeah. We got the ocean vote. CNN and Jeff Zeleny now reporting it's a definite victory for Pete as they talk about the new results without in any way talking about the screw-ups that have been reported. So apparently there has been a win reported for Mayor Pete without the results being confirmed and with shuffling behind the scenes. So now the entire legitimacy of the election process is in question. Yay. This is like The Onion. Yeah, how do you have so much trouble flipping a coin? These lizard people are going off, I'll tell you what. It's a definite victory for Pete, man. Definite victory for Pete. I don't know if any of the... I'll tell you what, though. I really want to see Tulsi come out, support Bernie. I want to see Yang come out and support Bernie, which that one I'm not very sure about. And I mean after they take their fair share in New Hampshire and see how well she does. Tulsi has a good chance of getting delegates in New Hampshire. Yeah, it's all about impeachment right now. So our media cycle right now will be consumed with impeachment and Pete Buttigieg without any evaluation of the truth. Yeah, I thought Gabbard was going to register in the popular vote. Thank you to whoever just subscribed, by the way. Yeah, I thought Gabbard, she lives in New Hampshire now, I think. Like, she fully moved to there, pretty much. So I thought she would do decent in Iowa, but I do expect her to do great in New Hampshire. And of course, these are the numbers that were off from different voting places. One moment. How are they going to frame this, though? Is Pete Buttigieg got a surge in New Hampshire? Yeah, I wish Bernie would come out to support Tulsi. I'm not happy with Bernie when he makes those calculated political moves, because Tulsi's approval ratings are really low right now. So I'm not sure if he's staying away from her for that reason, because her unfavorables are really bad at the moment. Economist YouGov has a new national poll out with Warren and Sanders tied for second with Biden and first at 24. Don't listen to them. Their polling methods and their weighting methods are terrible. I've evaluated them already. They always give Warren a boost. Bloomberg and Buttigieg tied for fourth. But New Hampshire, by the way, the media took one of these polls and reported on it, showing Buttigieg catching up to Bernie from like 2 weeks ago, when in reality, every poll coming out shows Bernie up by 15, 10, 9, 7 points. So they're trying to sell Pete Buttigieg right now. I don't think he'll win, but I think it is part of them trying to win this whole, race to get a contested convention. Bernie should have been against impeachment. See, that's another decision you really have to weight a certain way. You really have to look at it and evaluate like what the demographics are. Because the Democratic Party has zero revolutionaries in it. Or people that'll think differently. Like, I brought opinions in about Nancy Pelosi's ripping of Trump's speech. And I told it to people. And I said it was a terrible move. It hurts the Democrats overall for the next election. It's just petty. It's fake opposition. And it's bad. And people gave me pushback for it because I'm supposed to just love everything she does because I'm a Democrat, apparently. But I'm not really a Democrat. I'm just here to vote for Bernie right now and participate in the primary process. Put on your yellow vest and accept the crumbs that billionaires and millionaires are willing to give you. All right. So to be clear, the Iowa Democrats' mistakes in inputting the numbers did in fact falsely put Buttigieg in the lead and would have been finalized were they not caught. Ooh, that's interesting. Would these results have been finalized? If we found these errors later, could they have been set in stone? I'm not sure how that works. Like, is it like when you turn in an assignment for school or like for a project or something when you're in college and you're like, okay, hand in paper and you press it and it's like no take backs? And is this expression for delegates? No, that's the final one. So here's the first. So is this final expression for popular vote or delegates? Would be my question. Did anybody see the look on Jimmy Dore's face when he said it's a joke last night? I was watching Jimmy Dore's coverage of this whole thing. It's been hilarious. He's in rare form right now. The billionaires aren't going to give up that easy. It's true. So how many mistakes are in this entire process? Who else was screwed out? Release the results. Hashtag release the results. I'm not sure if that'll get trending, but... How do we defeat the billionaires? We just don't, apparently. I guess. I don't know. Thank you to whoever just subscribed, by the way. Yeah, so I guess we're waiting for Deval Patrick's victory speech. I can't stand that guy. What? People like the Volpat. Oh no.
I want to thank you all for coming out today. I want to thank you for caring about our democracy.
Nah, no, I'm not watching that. Never mind. Yeah, so, the impeachment already stole 4 weeks of campaigning in Iowa. Hopefully we can move past it ASAP. Yeah, true. The entire impeachment was good for nobody. Except Donald Trump. And we predicted this. Like, anyone who's watching this stream right now, I'm guessing, predicted that the impeachment would go well for Donald Trump. But seeing it play out was really disheartening. Because at every corner, they're like, oh, we got him now. Donald Trump, you have lacked decency. And Donald Trump will be like, oh, yeah, I gave you jobs. And that's all Americans hear. Americans don't care about decorum. They care about results and reality TV stars. So they're trying to sell that Bernie got 0 votes in Des Moines 55 when Deval Patrick got 191. And apparently Bernie got 0 votes in an area where Tom Steyer got 208. And there were 0 people for Bernie or Warren in these areas. So you can see the highlighted amounts here. Yeah, it doesn't do anything but embolden Trump's base. I can't see it helping us in the long run. Yeah, oh boy. We just gave him so much ammunition. And when Nancy Pelosi tore apart the documents, that gave him even more ammunition. Because now they're saying, like, oh, you ripped up not his speech, but you ripped up the stories of the fallen service members that he spoke about, or the military family that got reunited, or whoever Donald Trump came and used as a prop for a speech. And she walked into the trap. Yang Gang jumping in to listen on the commute home. Yeah, Bernie's been underreported. Yeah. Andrew Yang finished as projected. I think I don't know if he's happy about his finish. I think he's happy to have achieved the level he did, coming from nowhere still. I predict Andrew Yang to finish around, I want to say 7% in New Hampshire. 7 to no. I thought he could crack 10 in Iowa, popular vote wise, but New Hampshire he has a stronger play, especially since it's a primary state. I think he'll be in the 8 to 11 range. Tulsi Gabbard, I think she'll get around 6 to 10% of the vote, around that area. So we're gonna see how this right here makes everything fluctuate. If people in New Hampshire, people in New Hampshire are for outsiders and they're for underdogs and fighters. So maybe this whole situation here will help out like Sanders at the top if he's seen as the way to combat this corruption. This isn't acceptable for anybody, and we shouldn't be relying on independents, on a Democratic candidate's funding and his app to make sure the results are correct. Some Yang votes were recorded, and Yang had some second votes moved to Bernie that weren't reported. 65% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck until something drastic happens. Let the internet count the votes. That's something we have to worry about too, because Elizabeth Warren, she just put out that disinformation plan to stop disinformation online and give the government power to basically, destroy people's presence online from memes. The internet right now is our strongest protector of democracy. Like, you could argue that memes are what's protecting us from authoritarianism. Yeah, we should all be outraged. Yang Gang. We all have to band together to fight this stuff. What I call the populist coalition, although we do have a competition between Yang, like Gabbard, and Bernie. We all have to band together for this stuff. Bernie should say something, though. They can't let this happen. Here's a good point here. All this stuff only helps Trump, and helping Trump, you could say, helps the Democratic establishment. They fundraise off Trump. They win down ballot races because they get the money and they get people mobilized. But come on, Bernie, you got to say something. Like, we're doing our best down here, dude. We're doing our best to pick you up, man. Like, we're all living through Bernie. Bernie's that vessel that all of our power is concentrated in. Yeah, I agree. It's a rivalry, but our democracy comes first. And we're the only ones really protecting it right now. A lot of people supporting, like, Biden and, like, Klobuchar and Buttigieg are either disinterested, they want to be left alone, or they don't care about certain things being corrupt as long as their lives are okay. So we're really out here alone, trying to stand for this stuff. A freaking fair election. Thank you to whoever just subscribed again. Yeah, so credit to Warren's team for finding this. Also, know Pete has a super PAC he's brazenly colluding with. So here is a PAC. I have to go grab something really quick, but this is a statement that came out. Alright, so Pete entered the race as a Boy Scout, but has corrupted his brand by becoming the candidate of big money corporate donors. By the way, Warren isn't really on the Populist Coalition team, but the brand she adopted is. So what I mean by that is she is talking about corruption. She might not be fighting actively against it, but she is helping point it out, which is a good thing. Pete has been corrupted. It's a slap in the face of campaign finance law, so brazenly and unethically directing a super PAC how to spend on his behalf. Yeah, super PACs and candidates are not supposed to be interacting. So Pete doesn't spend time in New Hampshire and Iowa, but he leaves, my bad, he leaves to go get fundraising in New York. Hopefully he loses. But he spends more time in fundraisers than he does speaking to people. So Wine Cave Pete. Donald Trump would call him part of the corrupt swamp if he ever were the nominee. PCCC founder came out and said that. Okay. Yeah, so we have the Trump issue. We have this election fraud issue by the DNC. I think DNC's donations should be slowing down. Hopefully we find a little bit of light in here. The media is already reporting Pete Buttigieg won without addressing any of the factual errors or inconsistencies. The Iowa Caucus app had another problem. It could have been hacked easily. We knew that. Sean King might have something to show us. They were stretching out the results, trying to ignore and suppress media coverage of it. Yeah, I'm not seeing... Yeah, this is what we've been looking at. So here's the whole issue written out here. How the hell did the county supervisor and Black Hawk in a report 27 votes for Steyer, and then you gave him 396? How did they report less than 5 votes for Deval Patrick, and you gave him 494? Please explain this. Oh boy, it's getting pretty tricky. Okay, I am back with the live chat. The DNC is currently taking loans to stay afloat. Yeah, that was a big issue with the 2016 election. And that's how Hillary had complete control over the DNC, because Hillary's foundation was funding the DNC, which was going bankrupt. So whatever Hillary told them to do, they did, because Hillary was their only support to stay afloat. So the DNC not having any money is a big topic here. Yeah, I'm not sure if anything else is happening now, if there will be any streams on YouTube or anything of the sort. talking about this so we can see some media coverage of what's happening. There's a live stream. Let's see, Iowa. Bloomberg throwing money around is going to cause issues. How can I vote for Bloomberg, dude? I told someone today, like, dude, I'm not burning your bust, but I am not voting for Michael Bloomberg. The day I vote for Michael Bloomberg is the day I give up on life and get an office job and never leave. Are they still showing these stupid impeachment trials? Or not trials, but the freaking vote. Hey, here's our closing argument. So Donald Trump said something wrong to a foreign leader, and we decided to prosecute him on that instead of attacking him taking money from foreign governments. And we wondered why the people didn't change their opinion on it. Do you guys have any predictions for New Hampshire? Before I log off here. The debate's Friday. Are they going to ask any questions about what happened in Iowa? If they do ask questions about Iowa, they will ask Yang, and he's going to say, well, it'd be helpful to know that the president knows something about technology. That will be his argument. Nothing new coming out about this yet. Just know that the results are still in the air. We don't know what's happening. We don't know what's true. We don't know what's false. We know Deval Patrick is fake. Somehow he got 500 votes in a place where 5 votes for him were reported. They redistributed Bernie Sanders' votes. Very impressive. Showing Bernie Sanders' socialist, redistribution policies. Bernie landslide win in New Hampshire. But will anyone trust the results? Are we going to trust anything after this? Here you go. I feel like everyone can agree with this sentiment. My thoughts on the Iowa caucuses are simple. Yeah, I agree. Bernie wins. Yang outperforms. I think Gabbard outperforms. Hopefully Biden underperforms, especially after taking such a bad defeat in Iowa. Moderates will be going for Klobuchar and Warren and Buttigieg. You think Bernie will get New York, at least the rural areas? Yeah, it depends on which areas come out in high turnouts. All right, I'm probably going to be logging off here in a few minutes. If anyone is not yet subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. I will do another video on this probably tonight or tomorrow, whenever we get fundamental results or when we figure out what's actually happening behind the scenes. Should we be attentive to something or... Yeah, I don't think we need to worry about saying anything to Yang supporters because... Like, a lot of Yang Gang is already going to go to Bernie. And asking them to isn't going to help at all. And it's just not the right thing to do. I think we should let them fight for what they believe in. Especially since a lot of them are going to go to Trump. A lot of them are just going to not vote in the general. A lot of them are just here for Yang. Similarly to how people are just here for Bernie. And if you tell anyone that's here for Bernie or bust, hey, you should vote for Biden because, he could win. Although I disagree that it's the same equivalency. I was a Biden supporter, now I'm Bernie. Yeah, there's a lot of crossover between Biden and Bernie that people don't like to look at because they look at it in terms of left and right when there's a lot more to go off of there. Like, I remember liking Biden in 2016, but then I saw how the stage was actually set, and I learned more about Biden. And then I ended up liking how Bernie was adjusting. And he's proven throughout his career and all that. But Bernie and Biden have actually the largest crossover of voters, other than Warren and Bernie. Warren and Bernie have the largest proportion and percentage of crossover voters, but Biden and Bernie share the largest numbers of voters just because of their immense support. Caucus, let's see secular talk. Bernie's internal numbers had him 5 points up. The official results have him and Mayor Pete basically tied. They had to cheat to a effing draw. I told you we have to overwin in order to win, and I effing meant it. Get your ass off the couch and get to work. Oh no. Alright guys, so I guess it's time. Get your vests ready, get your yellow vests. Alright, get some riot shields, you know. Nah, but like JFK said, try a peaceful revolution first. And the protests I see now are all about Trump. If we want to have actual change, we can't just go yell in the street. We have to do it the old-fashioned way, like boycotts, shutting down public transportation and stuff like that. And I'm not advocating for, I'm not about that. But I'm saying if we did do it, like the protest we do now is just yelling into the abyss. We need fundamental change. Votes still say to people behind Bernie. Yeah, I guess we're just expecting another Trump presidency. Trump supporters did it and won. Yeah, we just have to hope the spirit in the Democratic Party is big enough for that type of movement. Like I said before, the demographics don't line up as good as they do for the Republicans because we have a lot more people in the Republican Party willing to take an outsider and run with it and be anti-establishment and all that. So hopefully it all works out. So, of course, just an overall recap. Bernie Sanders, his votes ended up going to Deval Patrick and Tom Steyer somehow. Warren and Bernie were both discounted at multiple precincts. So after this whole long, drawn-out process, we are still waiting for results, and we do not know if the results we got are legitimate. So that's where we are right now. I am logging off right now. Thank you for joining me for this stream. Please consider subscribing and liking this stream. And, good luck. And by the way, if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's JOLABPolitics, YouTube, or JOLABPolitics, YT. So yeah, thank you guys for joining me. I'll talk to you later.